Alright, let's dive into something that's got the college football world buzzing: sleeper teams for the 2026 college football playoff. Now, I know what you're thinking: sleepers. Really? Isn't that just a fancy way of saying long shots? But here's the thing, every year, there's that team. The one nobody saw coming. Indiana winning a national championship. Who predicted that? Exactly. So let's talk about 8 teams that could pull off something similar this season. And trust me, some of these names might surprise you. First up, TCU. Now, I know what you're thinking: didn't they just have their moment in the sun? But here's the deal, TCU isn't just a one-hit wonder. Sonny Dykes has a history of turning quarterbacks into stars, and Jaden Craig. He's no slouch. Personally, I think the Big 12 is wide open this year, and if Craig clicks in that air raid offense, TCU could absolutely crash the party. What makes this really interesting is how quickly people wrote them off after 2023. But if you take a step back and think about it, they've got the schedule, the talent, and the coaching. It's not a stretch, it's a calculated risk. Next, UNLV. Now, this one's a bit more out there, but hear me out. Dan Mullen has a knack for getting the most out of his quarterbacks, and Arnold. He's got the tools. What many people don't realize is that UNLV's schedule is actually pretty forgiving. They've got a chance to stack early wins, and in a watered-down Mountain West, that could be enough to turn heads. In my opinion, this is the kind of team that could sneak into the conversation if everything breaks right. It's a long shot, but isn't that the point of sleepers? Now, let's talk South Carolina. Last year was a disaster, no doubt about it. But here's where it gets interesting: they've completely overhauled their offense. LaNorris Sellers has a new supporting cast, and if Kendall Briles can work his magic, this team could look completely different. What this really suggests is that sometimes, all it takes is one offseason to turn things around. The SEC is brutal, but if they can pull off a couple of upsets, they'll be in the mix. One thing that immediately stands out is their potential: they've got the talent, they just need to put it together. Minnesota is another team that's flying under the radar. PJ Fleck has a roster loaded with experience, and Drake Lindsey. He's a legit NFL prospect. What makes this really interesting is their schedule. They've got some tough games, but if they can navigate the Big Ten gauntlet, they'll be in the conversation. From my perspective, this is a team that's being overlooked because they're not flashy. But consistency. They've got that in spades. If you take a step back and think about it, they've got everything they need to make some noise. Louisville is a team I'm keeping a close eye on. Jeff Brom has been knocking on the door for years, and this could be the season they finally break through. Lincoln Kienholz is the wild card here. If he plays to his potential, this offense could be explosive. What many people don't realize is that their schedule is actually pretty favorable. No Clemson or Miami. That's huge. In my opinion, this is the year Louisville finally gets over the hump. It's not just about talent, it's about timing. Now, Florida is a team that's been stuck in neutral for a while, but John Sumrall could change all that. He took Tulane to the playoff, and if he can work similar magic here, the Gators could be dangerous. What makes this really interesting is their quarterback battle. Aaron Philo or Trammell Jones. Either way, they've got playmakers. If you take a step back and think about it, the SEC is always chaotic. Someone's going to surprise, and why not Florida? This raises a deeper question: can Sumrall turn this program around in just 1 year? I'm not betting against him. Cal is the wild card of the bunch. Tosh Lupoy is a total unknown as a head coach, but his portal strategy. That's fascinating. Jaron Kiwi Sagapalutiel is the key here. If he takes a leap, Cal could be a dark horse in the ACC. A detail I find fascinating is that they don't play Miami. That's a huge break. Personally, I think this team could be this year's Indiana, the one nobody sees coming. It's a risky pick, but that's what makes it fun. Finally, Oklahoma State. It's been a rough couple of years, but Eric Morris and the North Texas imports could change everything. Drew Mestmaker, Caleb Hawkins, Wyatt Young, these guys are proven. What this really suggests is that sometimes, all it takes is a fresh start. Their schedule isn't terrible, and if they can gel quickly, they could surprise in the Big 12. One thing that immediately stands out is how much talent they've brought in. It's not just about hope, it's about potential. So, there you have it, 8 teams that could shake up the 2026 college football playoff. But here's the bigger question, which one of these teams do you think has the best shot? Personally, I'm keeping an eye on TCU and Louisville, but college football is unpredictable. That's what makes it so great. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who's your sleeper pick? And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Let's keep the conversation going.